Today I'm going over my top 10 favorite hostage crisis movies that aren't Die Hard on physical media. So let's rock. Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz. So I'm talking about hostage movies today. I was watching Die Hard 1 and 2 this month, and it got me in the mood to check out some of my other favorite hostage type movies or hostage negotiation type movies. Now, I do want to make a little distinction here. When I say hostage movies, I'm not necessarily talking about like a Silence of the Lambs or Kiss the Girls type movie where you've got a killer on the loose who's abducting women, taking them back to his lair and whatnot. Those are not the kind of films I'm talking about for this list. Instead, I'm talking about what I like to refer to as hostage crisis movies, right? Where there's a big incident, a big standoff. You know, you might have a bunch of police converging on the scene. You might have a hostage negotiator involved. There's someone in there demanding money or something else in exchange for releasing the hostages, that kind of thing, right? You might have a media presence. You might have the media getting involved and covering the story. So those are the kind of movies I'm talking about when I say hostage crisis films, right? I'm a big fan of this particular subgenre. I always have a lot of fun with these movies. I've always loved these kind of movies. So today I'm doing a list of my top 10 favorite hostage crisis movies that aren't Die Hard on physical media, along with a couple honorable mentions at the end of the list. So make sure you stick around for that. So I'm going to spare you guys the long intro today. Let's just get right into this list and see what kind of films we got here. Okay, so starting off at number 10, got a great film here. We've got The Taking of Pelham 123. Little hostage situation on the New York subway. This is a great film starring Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw. Just a great film. Now, actually, with this film, you have a couple different options you can go with, right? Depending on the type of vibe that you're in the mood for, right? Because there is, of course, also a 2009 Tony Scott remake that stars John Travolta and Denzel Washington, right? And this is a great film, too. In fact, personally, because I'm such a big Tony Scott fan, I actually like both of these films probably equally as much, right? I think both versions of these films are great. And you kind of have your choose your own vibe kind of situation here, right? You know, like a choose your own adventure, except choose your own vibe. If you're in the mood for that kind of darker, grittier 1970s New York City vibe, then go with the 1974 original film here. But if you're in the mood for a flashier, slicker, more contemporary, more stylized film, then go with the Tony Scott 2009 film. This is a lot of fun too, and you really can't go wrong with either one of these. So it just depends on what kind of vibe you're in the mood for. You know, if you like that dark 1970s New York City vibe, go with this one. But if you prefer a more modern, a more faster-paced film, then you want to go with the Tony Scott one. And you really can't go wrong with either of these films. Both have a great cast in each film. And, you know, just a really good story. Two different takes on the same story, but a lot of fun. Whichever way you choose to go, you can't go wrong with either of these. So, yeah, Taking of Pelham 123. Oh, and by the way, this Kino Lorber 4K transfer of the 1974 film, great 4K transfer. If you were wondering if you're a fan of this film and were on the fence about buying it in 4K, I can assure you this is probably the best the film has ever looked. So, yeah, you definitely can't go wrong with the Kino Lorber 4K of Taking of Pelham 123. Next up is a movie from director Joel Schumacher. It's a 2002 movie. Great film called Phone Booth. You got Colin Farrell here, Kiefer Sutherland, and Forrest Whitaker. Excellent cast. This is a great film, and it's a little bit of a different take on the hostage scenario, right? In this case, you actually have a sniper that's holding a guy hostage in a phone booth. And it turns into this big whole production, this whole incident. The police converge on it. You got Forrest Whitaker playing the cop who's trying to resolve the situation that develops. It's just a really good movie. Now, the funny thing about this is a really short movie. It's only like 81 minutes, right? You're in and out real quick, but the time is really well used. And, you know, the first time I watched this, but going into it, seeing how short it was, I was like, you know, how good can this movie possibly be in 81 minutes? How much can they really develop the characters, right? But no, they do a great job with this film. And, you know, Kiefer Sutherland's great in it. Of course, you mainly hear his voice through most of the phone because he's on the phone. But Colin Farrell, great job. And, of course, Forrest Whitaker is always great. So if you've never seen Phone Booth, it's a fun, suspenseful thrill ride that keeps you engaged the whole way. And I highly recommend it. Check it out. For number 8, I've got another movie from 2002. Great film called John Q. Stars Denzel Washington. You got James Woods in there. You got, I think Anne Hesh was in this one. It's been a while since I've seen this one, and I've been meaning to revisit it. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that before I did this list. So I'm just going on memory here. It's probably been 15 years since I've seen the film, if not longer. But it was a great film, and it's kind of a different situation in terms of like a hostage situation. It's not your average hostage, you know, take hostages for money or whatever type of thing. In this case, Denzel Washington ends up taking hostages in a hospital, right? His son is extremely sick and can't get the treatment he needs, and so he ends up taking some extreme measures to try and get his son the help that he needs. And it's just a really great movie, very heartwarming movie. And yeah, I mean, it really tugs at the heartstrings, especially if you're a parent. So yeah, if you've never seen John Q, I highly recommend it. It's one I plan to pick up on physical media myself in the near future, because like I said, I haven't seen it for a while and I am definitely in the mood for it. So yeah, John Q at number 8. Next up, for number 7, a great film here, another Denzel film. You guys know that I'm a big Denzel fan, right? He's like my favorite actor, but I had to do it. Inside Man. This is from 2006. Great Spike Lee film, and I'm not even the biggest Spike Lee fan, but I do like this film. I think he did a great job with it. Amazing cast here. You got Denzel Washington, you got Clive Owen, Jodie Foster, Christopher Plummer, Willem Dafoe's in this. So yeah, just really good stuff. And this is kind of a unique heist angle. I mean, it is a standard kind of bank heist hostage type situation, but it does have a few interesting little twists and turns in it that I think kind of help the movie, set the movie apart from other movies of this sort. So great performances all the way around and just a really fun film. So yeah, if you like heist films and hostage situations and all that stuff kind of thrown in the pot together, then this is definitely a film worth checking out if you've never seen it. So yeah, Inside Man at number 7 for me. Okay, moving on to number 6. I've got a Bruce Willis film here that I feel like is kind of under the radar. A lot of people have kind of forgotten about this one or maybe didn't even know about it. And that is simply Hostage, right? This is a 2005 film. And, you know, I've always liked this one ever since I first saw it. And but I don't hear a lot of Bruce Willis fans talking about this one as much, right? And it's understandable because, you know, Die Hard kind of overshadows everything. So if he's doing another hostage type movie, you know, it might not get the attention that something like a Die Hard would get, of course, given its iconic classic status. I feel like this is one of the better later career Bruce Willis films, or I should say post-2000 Bruce Willis films. You know, in recent years, you know, some of the films he's been doing aren't that great, and now we know why. But this is one of the last ones I think he did that was really quite good before things kind of started to go downhill a little bit in his career. So anyway, great cast along with Bruce Willis. You have Kevin Pollak. Ben Foster plays a complete psycho in this and someone that you will definitely root for his demise. But essentially what's going on here, this is a little bit different. This is a kind of a hostage situation in the home, right? It's like a home invasion type hostage situation that balloons into this big incident that, you know, police converge on the scene, hostage negotiator, the whole 9 yards, right? So, but it's a really good movie, and it's got some fun little twists and turns that you don't necessarily see coming if you've never seen the film before. So yeah, if you've never seen Hostage, great Bruce Willis film from 2005, check it out. Moving into the top 5, for my number 5, I've got a little presidential hostage crisis action happening here, and that is the classic Air Force One from 1997, Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman. Wow, this is a great film, right? So much fun. I've got the 4K Steelbook here that was put out, I think it was earlier this year, but I had to get it. You know, I love the art on it, and the art was a big selling point on me getting this particular edition. So yeah, great film all the way around. Great 4K transfer. I'm guessing most of you have probably seen this one before, but if you haven't, you should definitely want to check it out. Harrison Ford playing the ass-kicking president. Gary Oldman playing the bad guy. You got some other great people in here too, like William H. Macy. So yeah, check out Air Force One if you've never seen it. It's a classic presidential hostage crisis type film. So yeah. And along those same lines, for my number 4, another presidential hostage crisis film, and that is Olympus Has Fallen. This is a fun thrill ride, directed by Antoine Fuqua, who we know from Training Day and the Equalizer movies. He's an awesome director. I love him. Of course, he works a lot with Denzel, but not in this particular movie. We got Gerard Butler here. We got Morgan Freeman. We got Aaron Eckhart, who I like all of these guys. Well, Gerard Butler, I'm kind of lukewarm on. I do like his films. I will watch his films, but I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether I actually like him. So, as an actor, right? So, but such a fun film. This one's pretty intense. You know, this is another, pretty much if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I've seen this one too, but it's a bunch of terrorists like taking over the White House, right? The hostage crisis situation is in the White House. So it's a pretty big deal. Aaron Eckhart plays the president here. And yeah, just a fun ride. Of course, they did a couple sequels to this. London Has Fallen and Angel Has Fallen. I don't have those yet, but I believe it was only this first one that was directed by Antoine Fuqua. So if you've never seen this one, it's super action-packed and it's pretty intense. And it kind of has a bit of a Die Hard vibe as well. Gerard Butler playing the Bruce Willis type character in this film. So yeah, Olympus Has Fallen for my number 4. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell as well so you can be alerted when I'm posting videos that you might dig. And also don't forget to like the videos. It helps a lot more than people may realize in terms of the channel's visibility out there on YouTube. So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Moving on to number 3, we have an absolute classic here that I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talk about these days. And that is Dog Day Afternoon from 1975. Great Al Pacino film. In fact, it's up there. One of my favorite Al Pacino films, up there with Scent of a Woman and Scarface for me. Dog Day Afternoon is probably my 3rd favorite. It's just a great movie. Now, I'll admit, this movie probably couldn't be made today, right? It would be way too controversial. And, given what happens in the movie. And if you've never seen this classic film, I'm not going to say what happens in the movie because I don't want to give anything away. But let's just say the film would not be considered politically correct in this day and age, not by any stretch. But it's a great film. It's a kind of a classic bank heist, hostage type situation that, turns into this big standoff. And what gets interesting about this film is the motivations for the heist. What caused Al Pacino and his cohort, played by John Cazale, I believe, and yeah, those two awesome together in this movie, and just a great story, great film, really compelling watch all the way around. If you've never seen Dog Day Afternoon, you should definitely check it out at some point. So this is one I don't own on physical media yet. It's one I'm thinking about picking up in the near future because I actually haven't seen this film in probably 20 or 25 years. It's been a long time, but the film has always stuck with me as a great film and one of Al Pacino's high points in his career, or higher points of a really profound career. I was kind of hoping this one would get a 4K release someday, and that's why I've never gotten around to picking it up. I probably had it on my wish list to pick up for probably a couple years now, and I could have picked up the Blu-ray at any point, but I just was, I wasn't in a hurry to rewatch it at the time, and I figured, well, maybe we'll get a 4K someday, but Now I'm beginning to wonder if maybe it would be a little too controversial for a 4K release to even happen, if they'd even want to touch this one in 4K, given the subject matter. So I think I'm probably headed toward picking up the Blu-ray of this one in the very, very near future, because I am getting kind of anxious to see this one again, because it's been so long since I've seen it. And just talking about it here on this list, it makes me want to see it again, right? So yeah, so if you've never seen Dog Day Afternoon from 1975, great classic bank heist hostage crisis type film, check it out. Okay, and coming in next at number 2, it's an absolute classic. You know it, I know it, we all know it, we all love it, and that is Speed from 1994. Classic 90s action film with Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, and of course the late great Dennis Hopper, who plays probably the role of his lifetime in this film. I think he was one of the best villains we've ever seen. I just loved his performance in this film. And this is, of course, a hostages on a bus kind of situation, a bus with a bomb, right? So that's a pretty hairy situation. So yeah, I don't know how much I can really say about this one. I think we're all pretty familiar with this, but it's one of those films I don't really get tired of watching. It's extremely rewatchable. I can watch it all the time, and it just never really gets old for me. Dennis Hopper's performance as the villain here never gets old for me. Just such a fun ride all the way around. So yep, Speed number 2. All right, and coming in at number 1, it's a film I absolutely love. It's the film I was thinking of when I got the idea to do this list. This is the film that popped into my mind, and that is The Negotiator from 1998. Awesome 90s suspense action film. You got Samuel L. Jackson here, you got Kevin Spacey, and you got some other good people in this as well. David Morse. Really, really awesome hostage standoff type film. Samuel L. Jackson plays a hostage negotiator, and he ends up getting framed for something he didn't do, and he ends up taking some pretty extreme measures to get to the bottom of the truth of what happened to him. So I don't want to give too much away if you've never seen this one. It's just a fun film all the way around. One of my favorite performances from Kevin Spacey as well. And I'm not even the biggest Kevin Spacey fan, especially these days, but I absolutely love him in this film. Great role here for him, and he was perfect for it. And yeah, just a fun film with some twists and turns. And, you can't go wrong with a film like this. If you love hostage crisis movies, this, to me, is, next to Die Hard, one of the ultimate hostage crisis movies. Just love this film. So if you've never seen The Negotiator, you definitely want to check this one out at some point. Okay, so that covers my top 10, but I do have a few quick honorable mentions here, just a few. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. The first one is a movie called Trapped, and this is from 2002. Now, this one's a little bit different of a hostage type movie than some of the other ones on this list. This actually does involve an abduction and a kidnapping ransom type situation here. Although the hostage situation is happening on a couple different levels, both with the daughter played by Dakota Fanning and the mom played by Charlize Theron. Kevin Bacon is in this film. He's awesome as the villain. He does a great job as a villain, and I've always thought Kevin Bacon was kind of an underrated actor. This guy's got chops, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that, or just think of Footloose, and they associate Kevin Bacon with Footloose, but this guy has done some serious roles, and he's just a great actor. Well, he does a great job in this one. And even though this is more of like a personal kidnapping hostage type situation, it does turn into this big deal, this big kind of, if I remember correctly, standoff kind of situation. This is another one I haven't seen in probably close to 20 years. But I don't think I've even watched this since I bought the Blu-ray. I bought this Blu-ray a few years ago because I knew I liked the movie, but I'd never gotten around to seeing it since I picked it up. But I watched the movie years ago, and I knew it was something I wanted to have in my collection. And now I'm recommending it to you guys, right? So great film. It does result in this big kind of standoff situation at the end, where you do have cops involved and whatever. It turns into kind of a mess. This little kidnapping ransom thing doesn't exactly go as planned for Kevin Bacon. And oh, by the way, Courtney Love is also in this movie, and I gotta say, she's awesome in this. Courtney Love's actually, she really surprised me. I didn't know she could act as well as she does, but she did a great job for this film, and so I got to give her props there. So anyway, if you've never seen Trapped, Kevin Bacon, Charlize Theron, Dakota Fanning, yeah, you definitely got to check this one out. Great film. Another honorable mention is another kind of under the radar movie that I don't know how many people actually remember. This was from 1997, and this was a movie called Mad City. Stars John Travolta and Dustin Hoffman. Great film. I haven't seen it probably since the late 90s. I don't own it on physical media. It's one I've, I just remembered it, right before doing this video. So it's one I wanted to add to the list, or to my mentions. It's one I'm going to be seeking out on Blu-ray very soon, because this is one I had completely forgotten about, and now I want to go back and rewatch it. So anyway, essentially John Travolta plays a former security guard in a museum, and he gets laid off and then ends up taking hostages in this museum, his former boss and a group of children who are there on a field trip. And it kind of turns into this messy standoff situation. Dustin Hoffman is the reporter who is covering this story, and he kind of gets in there, and he's trying to kind of negotiate a deal between the hostage taker and the police and whatnot. And so that's kind of an interesting angle. He's a seasoned reporter, and I'm not the biggest fan of journalists. I think they can be kind of shady sometimes, and I think Dustin Hoffman plays the journalist role here really well. He's obviously interested in getting the scoop for his story, but at the same time, he wants to try and help in whatever way he can. And so that dynamic is kind of interesting to watch unfold in this movie. So if you've never seen Mad City, seek this one out. Give it a try. It's definitely worth a watch. For my next honorable mention, we have another one that's a little bit of a different kind of hostage situation, and that is Michael Mann's Collateral. Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx. Great film. Jamie Foxx is essentially a cab driver who gets taken hostage by a hitman who needs to use the cab driver for the evening to go and do his rounds and get his jobs done, right? So a little bit of a different kind of hostage type situation here. You also got Mark Ruffalo as the cop on the case, trying to, figure out what's going on here. I've always liked this one. It's a great Michael Mann film. If you're a fan of Michael Mann, you know what his style is like. And Tom Cruise is great in this one too. A little bit of a different kind of role for Tom Cruise as well. So I really appreciated that. So I'm guessing a lot of you have probably seen this one. Great film, Collateral. And then the last honorable mention, I just wanted to touch on real quick, a movie called The River Wild. It came out in 1994 with the great Meryl Streep. And you got Kevin Bacon in this one as well. He plays, once again, a villain in this one. But it's kind of a hostages on a river rafting trip kind of situation, right? And I don't know how else to explain it other than that. This is another one where it's been a long time since I've seen it. I've been meaning to add it to my physical media collection for a while, but just haven't gotten around to it yet. But just a really fun ride all the way around. I believe Kevin Bacon and his cohort, I can't remember if it's one or two other people in this movie with him, that are essentially the bad guys. I think they robbed a bank or robbed something, and they're on the run or did something bad. I can't remember what exactly, but they're on the run. And Meryl Streep and or her character's son and her character's husband, they're doing this kind of river rafting trip, and Kevin Bacon kind of takes them hostage and forces them to do what he wants them to do. So it's a different kind of hostage type movie, but still a great ride all the way around. Really fun, very suspenseful. So yeah, if you've never seen The River Wild, I would recommend it. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my favorite hostage crisis movies of all time. I hope you enjoyed the list. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I always love hearing your thoughts and chatting with you guys. Have you guys seen these movies, or any of these in particular stand out to you? Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. And if you haven't seen any of these, which ones sound interesting to you? Which ones are you going to check out based on my recommendation? if you base anything on my recommendations, that is, believe me, I don't want to give the impression that I have more weight than I actually do here, right? It's just, I'm just an average collector with a YouTube channel telling you my thoughts. So I do want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've gotten a video out, so I appreciate your patience with me. I've just been in the holiday mode and kind of focused on some other things, so I haven't really been tending to the channel like I should. But I appreciate your patience with me and your support. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share if you feel so inclined. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.